Welcome to r/Am I the Butthole, where OP's mom tries to steal half of her money. Am I the butthole for refusing to give my mom my savings after she found out how much money I have? I'm a 19-year-old woman currently in college and still living at home. I've been working part-time since I was 16, and I'm really strict about saving. I don't go out much, don't buy expensive stuff, and I've managed to save a decent amount, around $4,000. Last week, my mom asked me to log into my banking app to transfer money for groceries because her card wasn't working. While I was doing that, she saw my total savings. She went quiet, and later that night told me that since I'm living under her roof, I should contribute more, and that it's selfish of me to hoard money while she's struggling. She asked me to give her $2,000 to help the family and said that I could always earn it back. The thing is, she's not unemployed or anything. She works full-time. We're not rich, but we're not in crisis either. I already pay for my own school stuff, my phone bill, and sometimes groceries. I was saving that money in case I move out for emergencies. When I said I wasn't comfortable giving that much, she called me ungrateful and said that I'm acting like a tenant instead of a daughter. Now my relatives are saying I should help because family helps family. But I feel like she only wants it because she saw how much I had. Am I the butthole for refusing to give her half my savings? OP, you definitely shouldn't give money arbitrarily. However, if your mom decides to start charging you rent, she'd be 100% justified in doing so. So be prepared for that. I think you're in a losing situation no matter what happens, OP. Still, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for not adjusting our China trip to my brother-in-law's cardio limits? I'm a 35-year-old guy, and I recently went to China with my sister, her husband Doug, their son, who's 12, my wife and our 2 kids, 11 and 9. My sister and I were born in China, but our family immigrated to Dallas when we were young. She stayed there, got married, and had her son, while I settled in the Pacific Northwest with my wife and 2 gremlins of our own. Growing up, our parents emphasized healthy eating and staying active. My sister and I still live that way and pass it on to our kids. Doug, however, is American in every sense of that word. He grew up on ultra-processed foods. Fruit snacks were considered fruit. And he'll insist on starting up his Grand Wagoneer for any distance more than 3 blocks. He's not completely immobile, but he's definitely not built for long treks. Their son just finished 7th grade and loved the ancient China unit, especially the Terracotta Warriors. My sister thought that this was the perfect time for him, being half Chinese, to visit his ancestral homeland. I was already planning a trip to Chongqing to see my family, so we added my sister's family to the itinerary and expanded it to include places like Beijing, Xi'an, and Nanjing to match what their son had learned in school. I handled most of the planning and tried to hint that a lot of walking would be involved, especially since many Chinese cities have vast transit systems that are less car-dependent. Doug didn't take it seriously. Once we arrived, it was clear he couldn't keep up when we explored the landmarks. My sister often stayed behind with him, while my wife and I continued with the kids to ensure that we kept up with our tour groups. It all came to a head in our final stop, my grandmother's hometown near Chongqing. This place is basically vertical, stairs and steep slopes everywhere. On a particularly hot, humid day, I took the kid to the local market via a park that our old family helped build. Doug insisted on coming, saying he didn't want to sit around all day. I warned that it was a long walk, but he insisted. Half a mile in, he was struggling. I slowed down, but the kids kept running ahead. After we got through the park, I convinced him to take a taxi back while I continued to the market with the kids. When we returned, Doug was sulking and my sister was upset. She said that I was inconsiderate for not just taking a taxi to the market. I explained that would have taken longer given the layout, and the kids wouldn't have seen the park that was part of our family's history. She said she hadn't realized how physically demanding the trip would be, since she let me handle most of the planning. And I didn't consider Doug's limits. I agree I could have been more considerate of Doug's cardio, but not at the expense of my nephew and kids experiencing their cultural landmarks, especially since it was my nephew's first time in his homeland, and my kids' first time in Xi'an and Beijing. They all said they had an amazing and educational experience. Am I the butthole? Down in the comments, there's a mix of not the butthole and everyone sucks here. Me, personally, I'm in the not the butthole camp. because there's not too much OP could have done, except I guess warn this guy even more. But there comes a point at which warning is no longer warning and it becomes kind of demeaning, you know? OP did say that he warned the brother-in-law about the cardio, so if he kept at it, it would have sounded like he was, talking down to him. And the simple reality is that the United States is the most car-dependent place on planet Earth. Other places, especially China, if you guys haven't been, you just have to walk. If you have to go to the grocery store in China, the expectation is that you walk to the grocery store and walk back. Also, if this dude can't even walk half a mile, then he's just not built for vacations in general. Even if he had vacationed in America, and visited New York City or Niagara Falls, he'd still have to walk half a mile. So, OP, I'm on your side. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for banning my wife's Disney divorce friend's plugins from our house? My wife's friend Melissa, who's 49, is staying with us for a few weeks while she sorts her life out. We have a large home and are very happy to have house guests. She's leaving her husband after 25 years of marriage because she wants to move to LA and work at Disneyland. This sounds like the plot of a bad sitcom, but I'm afraid that it's real. Both she and her husband are equally culpable for the failure of their marriage and really bring out the worst in one another. Their relationship has been in a state for as long as I've known them. The problem is that Melissa showed up with an arsenal of room scents and sprays and plugins. The smell, which is teenage girl with a side of Forever Chemicals Ode to Disneyland, has completely taken over the hallway, the family bathroom, my office, and even down 2 flights of stairs into the foyer drawing room and living room. It's strong, it's nasty, and it's made of smells and like all the chemicals that we avoid. As a sidebar, we've been cleansing ourselves of chemical nasties and have curated our home to smell clean and subtle. It's part of what makes it feel like home. Now it just smells like teen spirit. Melissa is genuinely lovely and in a vulnerable spot, and I don't want to make her feel unwelcome. But it's our house, and this is something that we've been intentional about. However, outside of our personal feelings about plugins, it feels really out there to rock up in someone else's home and decide to bring your own plug-in scents to totally change the smell of the house. I mentioned how strong the smell was, assuming that it was a room spray and how it was overtaking every room, and she said, "Yeah, the plugins are pretty strong." I was so shocked and asked her to remove them. I opened up with a sensitive ask. "Hey, those room sprays are pretty strong. Would you mind keeping the door closed if you're using them?" And I spiraled a bit when I heard her say, "plugins, plural." My wife told me I was being a butthole for making her uncomfortable when she's going through a lot, and that I could complain to my wife about it if it was over the line and ask her to tell her to stop. I was incredulous that she thought that it was okay to change the scent of our house. Am I the butthole here like my wife says? I feel pretty justified in my complaint. The top comment, "Not the butthole, she's making you uncomfortable in your home." True. Facts. This is a crazy amount of audacity. You're already letting her stay there rent-free. She can't accommodate you by not stinking up the place? OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving this lady and your wife 1.5 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for sneaking out and causing my sister to lose her job? My sister is 33, and I'm a 14-year-old girl. My sister had a baby 3 months ago. I just got out of school for the summer and really wanted to rest. But my sister decided she wants to finally get a job. Now she's making me babysit my niece. I have 0 experience with babies, and I get overstimulated easily. It's been really hard for me. I asked her if she could put the baby in daycare or something, but she refused. I decided to just suck it up, but it's been exhausting. I have insomnia, and it's hard to sleep when I feel like I need to be awake 24/7 to watch the baby. I'm constantly scared something might happen if I fall asleep. I told my mom how I felt, but she said that I would just have to deal with it. Both my parents work, so I'm left alone with the baby for hours almost every day. A few days ago, I got tired of everything. The night before my sister got ready for work, I snuck out and went to my friend's house so I wouldn't have to deal with it and could finally get some sleep. When I came home that morning after I saw all the missed calls and messages, and my mom and sister were really mad at me. They said I was being selfish and lazy, My sister even quit her job because I told her I'd leave again if she kept making me babysit. I definitely felt bad after it feels like my whole family is barely talking to me, except for my dad, and even he said I shouldn't have done that. I believe, OP, that if you're a 14-year-old girl, then it is your job to be a kid, to be a 14-year-old girl, to do fun teenager things, not to be roped into family chores constantly. I mean, yeah, teenagers should have some chores, like doing dishes or taking out trash or something, just to teach responsibility. But this is not a chore. This is a job, an unpaid job, by the way, that they're forcing you to do. They could at least offer the job to you. They could at least pay you for your time, but no, they're foisting it onto you just because you're easy, convenient, and free. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving everyone else 1.5 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for making my friend pay for my Uber home after she surprised me? So I went out last night with some friends. One of them, Sarah, offered to drive since she doesn't drink and she'd stay sober. Cool. Everything was fine until like 1 a.m. when she suddenly says she's too tired and wants to leave. I told her I was good staying and I would just Uber home later. She kept saying she felt responsible for me and wouldn't leave without me. It honestly turned into a whole thing, and I didn't feel like arguing in the middle of the club, so I just went with her. Then, once we get to the car, she goes, "Actually, I'm gonna go to my boyfriend's place. It's closer." His place is like 20 minutes in the opposite direction from mine. She drives there, pulls into a gas station near his house, and tells me to just call a ride from there. The Uber back to my place was $25 because of surge pricing. If she had left me at the club like I originally said, I would have paid and not cared. But she basically forced me to leave because she felt responsible, and then dropped me off halfway so she could see her boyfriend. So yeah, I Venmo requested her the $25. Now she's mad, saying I'm ungrateful because she already gave me a ride, and my other friends think I'm being petty over $25. I don't know, it's not even really about the money. It just feels weird to drag someone out and then leave them at a gas station. OP, your friend is very weird because how can she say she feels responsible for you, but then also abandon you at a gas station? How is that being responsible? So your friend is being stupid. I'm on your side, OP. You get 0 out of 5 buttholes. Your friend gets 1 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for asking my friend to pay me back for the wine that he drank while house sitting? So I'm a 26-year-old woman, and I have a friend, a 27-year-old guy, watch my place and my cat for the weekend. I told him he could help himself to whatever in the kitchen, which I thought was just like common sense for snacks and stuff. I got back and realized he opened this 120 bottle of vintage Barolo that I was saving for my promotion. He literally drank the whole thing alone while watching Netflix. When I asked him about it, he got all weird and said that I gave him permission because the wine was in the kitchen. Like, okay, but who drinks a $100 bottle of wine without asking first? I sent him a Venmo for $80. I gave him a discount, lol. And now he's calling me tacky and told our group chat that I'm a bad host. I feel like there's literally an unwritten rule of guest logic where you don't touch the most expensive thing in the house. If I tell you to help yourself to my garage, it doesn't mean you can just drive off in my car. I don't know, am I the butthole here? He's making me feel like I'm being extra, but I feel like he's totally taking advantage of me. I don't know, it's also just $120. OP, I'm gonna be real with you. If you said help yourself to my garage, I would 100% assume that meant your car if your car was in the garage. And if you said help yourself to anything in the kitchen and there's wine in the kitchen, I would 100% assume that also includes the wine. You doofus! Words have meaning. Help yourself to stuff in the kitchen means stuff in the kitchen, doofus! Also, people don't know much about wine. I don't know what Barolo is. I don't know if that's white or red or if that's a region or if it's $120 or $20. So if I felt like having a bottle of wine, I wouldn't think anything of it. OP, I'm afraid to say that you are a big dummy dum-dum. And I don't have high hopes for you getting a promotion because you are a dummy dum-dum. That was r/Am I the Butthole, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.